Hi, and welcome to this 4NAV coffee break. My name is René Brummel. I'm a product specialist at 4NAV, and I will be your presenter today. As this coffee break is live, you can ask your questions via the GoToWebinar question window. We will answer them at the end of the coffee break. Today, we're going to look at converting reports from Seaside to AL and from on-premise to cloud. To demonstrate how to do this, we'll convert Seaside versions of some 4NAV reports. However, this conversion works for Classic, RDLC, and 4NAV reports. You could even convert your entire Seaside solution, tables, pages, code units, etc., with the 4NAV converter, but that's a story for another day. To demonstrate the conversion of Seaside to AL, I'm going to use these steps. The prerequisites, what do I need to get going? In step 2, I will export my report from Seaside. In step 3, I will set up my extension. In step 4, I will convert Seaside reports to a universal code extension. Let's start with the first step. Today, I will work in a Business Central on-premise Docker installation with the Business Central 2023 Wave 2 release. I've installed the universal code version of the 4NAV customizable report pack, and I've executed the step-by-step wizard from the assisted setup to get started. I've installed the 4NAV Designer and Converter, both of which can be downloaded from the 4NAV website, and I have also installed Visual Studio Code with the AL language extension. The first thing we need to do is to export our report from Seaside. We don't need to do anything special, just export a normal text file. So what we are going to do is go to Seaside, which is kind of nice because we don't go there very often at the moment. And I've got these two 4NAV reports, the customer top 10 and the vendor top 10, and we'll just run them so we know that they are there and they actually work. So that's the customer top 10. And I have my vendor top 10. There we go. So those are the reports I want to convert to my Business Central 23 installation. What I need to do right now is just to select both of these, hit File, Export, and export them to my text file. I'm going to save them as seaside.txt, which is there because, of course, I've prepared this coffee break before. So yes, I want to replace this, which means that now I have a text file with these two reports. When we want to convert a report to Business Central, we need to create an empty extension, or we can use one that we already have and convert the reports into that extension. So I've created a simple extension using ALGo. All I need to do now is to set my 4NAV dependencies so I can compile 4NAV universal code reports. So I've got this extension right here, and as you can see, there's nothing special in it. In the app.json, I've got my platform and application set to 23, my runtime set to 12, which means I'm on a BC23 system. And all I need to do in here is I need to set my dependencies, which of course I will copy and paste because that will save a lot of time. And let me just format this document quickly so everything looks a bit nicer. So that's that. It also means now that symbols are missing because I need to download the symbols for the 4NAV core. And the 4NAV core, for those who don't know it, contains all of the logic to render and display 4NAV reports. So every 4NAV report needs a dependency on the 4NAV core. Otherwise, it will simply not run. So that's that. That's all I need to do. I have my AL packages, and these AL packages are needed for the converter because the 4NAV converter is going to read the symbols I need from these AL packages, and everything else is just an empty extension. Finally, we want to convert our reports, and to do so, I will use the 4NAV converter. You can also use the 4NAV designer to open and save the reports manually, but that's a bit time consuming. First, we need to make sure our converter is set up correctly, and then we can convert. So the converter is part of the 4NAV executable that you can download and install. So if you have the 4NAV designer, you automatically have the 4NAV converter. And what we are going to do first is set the connection string for symbol information. The 4NAV designer needs that. The 4NAV converter also needs that because it needs to know what tables and fields you have inside Business Central. Now I'm converting a Seaside report to AL, which means that I need to set up my connection to an extension folder. So 4nav is going to read the symbols from the extension instead of, for instance, straight from my Business Central database, as we usually do when we design reports. So what I've got is I've got my connection name, I've got my NAV or Business Central version, which is 23, of course, and my connection type is my local extension project and Visual Studio Code, and my extension folder is this one right there. I can test this and my settings are valid. So that's the first thing I need to do, so the converter can read the Business Central symbols. Second thing is I need to specify which file I want to convert. Now I can select a single file, or I can select an entire folder full of text files. In this case, of course, I have a single file, which is my seaside.txt. If I were to specify this entire folder, my 4nav converter would convert all of this, which are my placeholder txt files, which contain the same reports as my seaside file. So let's not go there. My output file is not a single file, so that's going to be a no. My output file is going to be the source folder of my extension. So I've got my seaside to AL extension right here with the AL packages, Git, layout translations, etc. So that's the folder I'm going to select. I'm converting to universal code at the moment, so target 4nav version is not relevant, but that could be any 4nav version you have installed. And my target, my NAV compatibility, is going to be BC Cloud and on-premise universal code. So from Business Central 18 and upwards, we use a universal code version of the 4nav report pack, which means that everything you do in on-premise is automatically compatible to cloud. So that's why BC Cloud and on-prem. Finally, hit convert. That's going to convert our reports, which is going to take a little while because it needs to convert text to AL. And when we look at the extension, you will find that we have two reports in this extension, the customer top 10 and the vendor top 10. If we look inside there, you will see we have a normal report with a bunch of 4nav code. And as usual, just leave the 4nav auto-generated code alone. Everything else you can change and edit. And of course, we have the two docx files, which contain the layouts that we need. Inside 4nav universal code, the 4nav layouts are embedded inside the docx file. So if you open this with Word, you will find an empty report. If you open it with the 4nav designer, you will find your layout. Everything is there. Hit Ctrl F5, publish to my Business Central 23 system, in which we need to log in. This is just a normal Docker container, which is the fastest way to do these demos. If you use Business Central Cloud in demos, sometimes you need to wait a little while before the sandboxes wake up. But right here, I've got my reports, and I can run these reports. There we have the customer top 10. And we have the vendor top 10. So that's it, really. One final thing I want to discuss with you is I'm just going to remove these reports, because at some point you may want to convert these 4nav reports, these seaside reports, to an on-premise, an older on-premise system which uses the 4nav DLL. In that case, what you need to do is you need to set your NAV compatibility to BC on-prem, and then of course your target 4nav version does matter. You can also hit convert. And what you will end up with is a couple of reports that are slightly different. And you will notice right now that they won't compile because what 4nav now does is it adds the .NET part to my 4nav report. And in my app.json, I have said that my target is cloud, so I cannot use DLLs inside this extension. However, if you are working with a BC14 to BC17 system, this is the way to go. Let's recap what we just did. The first step to converting our 4nav reports from Seaside to an extension is to export the objects. Nothing fancy needed, just an export from Seaside to a text file. The next step is to create an extension that we can convert to. Remember to set the dependency on the 4nav core extension for universal code extensions, or to enable DLLs for BC14 to BC17 systems. Finally, you can convert your reports with the 4nav converter. Thank you for listening to me so far. I can see there are no questions at this moment, so I'm going to wrap up this coffee break. If you want to know more about 4nav, or if you want to download the 4nav Designer and Converter, please visit our website. If you want to install 4nav in Business Central Cloud, please visit the Microsoft App Source. You can watch more videos about 4nav on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions about 4nav, please email them to support@4nav.com. For a full list of upcoming and recorded coffee breaks, please visit 4nav.com/coffeebreak. Thank you very much for listening to me today, and goodbye.